YouTube, how's it going? The Goat House is back, and welcome back to another episode of Terrible Take Tuesday. Do these every single Tuesday. What we do here is take terrible takes from, I feel like I'm saying take a lot, from the sports world out there and pretty much bash them. And you guys been submitting a lot of these takes. Appreciate you very much. If you find a take and want it on these episodes, go to our Twitter. DMs are open. Send us some terrible takes. That'll be just fantastic. Right before we get started, if you want to join our Discord chat, our Fantasy League, Pick'ems League for the NFL season, plenty more, check out those links in the description. You can get some of the stuff you see on the screen. 2 different memberships. You can get YouTube membership, which is basically YouTube exclusive content. The Patreon stuff is what's popular right now. Like I said, Fantasy League, Pick'ems League, and private Discord chat. You get instant responses. You can argue amongst each other. So I would appreciate if you guys can check any of that out. I think it's worth checking into there. Subscriber goal is also 40K by the end of this year. We appreciate you very much if you subscribe to the channel. Full NFL coverage in season. So I think it's worth the subscription. Clicking that like button, checking out our Twitter as you see up there. All that, much appreciated. Let's go on to the first terrible take. Sent to us by little Skip at Randy Cockrell, 4. I can't read. On the bottom left there, that's the Twitter handle. Appreciate you very much for sending this our way. So it looks like an Instagram post from Brown Central. That would make sense to what I'm about to read. Is it possible that Mack Wilson could become the next Ray Lewis? That's something. That's something. Yeah, I guess they're not saying he's going to become the next. That would be just on another level if they said that Mack Wilson would be the next Ray Lewis. I will say this. They did steal Mack Wilson. It was a great draft pick. He had a great first preseason game. But this is a little bit of a mixture of the Brown Central Instagram account getting a little too hyped after one preseason game. Not a little too hyped. Just way too hyped. And maybe they're trolling the Ravens fans a little bit. Maybe a little bit of a troll in there. But it's pretty funny. You know, I'm not going to rip it too much. It's kind of funny. But, I mean, they did steal Mack Wilson. It was a good pick. But Ray Lewis, talking about one of the best linebackers of all time. I would like them to explain what they see in Mack Wilson, they see in Ray Lewis. You know, I want to see, like, why is he his type? You know, why is he, what's the similarities? You know, that's what I would like to see if you're going to make a statement like this. So since they didn't do that, it kind of leads me back to maybe they're trolling the Ravens fans just a little bit. Maybe the whole division, maybe the whole league, really. The fan base is from all over the place. So appreciate you for sending us that our way. And next terrible take, we got a Madden terrible take from Hunter Arnold at Hunter Arnold on Twitter. Some Madden stats. So you can't take this too seriously because it is a video game. But, I mean, I believe this is if you simulate a season in career mode in Madden, what the finishing stats would be like. And if they are trying, I mean, they are the only NFL video game. They're trying to replicate it, make it as realistic as possible, especially with their ratings, and they want everything to come out realistic. That's what the fans want because they're all football fans first for them to be able to get the video game. So these are your stat leaders. Josh Allen leads the league in passing yards. Baker leading in passing touchdowns is, I think, realistic. That's a lot of touchdowns, but I think it's realistic. I mean, Zeke, if he signs or if he stops holding out, that's realistic. Saquon, realistic. Emmanuel Sanders in receiving yards, that is out there. And then even more out there, Cole Beasley. So basically, Josh Allen just dominated him, and Cole Beasley just dominated this year. I wonder if this was really simulated. I wonder if somebody used the Bills and played on rookie or something. That's what I'm wondering. Myles Jack and tackles, don't think it happens, but I guess you can't say it's not possible. Von Miller's absolutely possible. Joe Hayden leads with 6 interceptions. I think it's possible he can get 6. I think the leader has more than 6, but again, a long shot for that specifically to happen. But really, the 2 Bills leaders and Emmanuel Sanders, pretty out there. You know, Madden did not do a good job, I've noticed. I don't play it, but they doesn't look like they've done a good job in making the game realistic, but not just between this, but between how the players look and how the game is played. Looks very glitchy and weird. But this was very interesting. You know, I normally wouldn't take something from a video game, but, I mean, it's supposed to be realistic, and some of these are just out there. And, again, it's supposed to be simulated, but I think somebody used the Bills and put it on the lowest difficulty. But very interesting. Thank you for sending us that. Madden Stats leaders, terrible take. Next up, we got this tweet Cole Snipes found. Cole Snipes, top right, that's his handle. He's not the one that tweeted this, but he sent this our way. This person thinks Matt Ryan, that is Matt Ryan they're referring to, is greater than Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson greater than Carson Wentz. The Wentz part, I'm okay. Obviously, Matt Ryan and Russell Wilson at this point, have proven to be better than Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz got a lot of upside. But that I would agree with. But saying Matt Ryan over Russell Wilson, I guess it's not that, now that I'm thinking about it, not that surprising that somebody would say this. But Russell Wilson, what he's done, and they got the Super Bowl win, you don't see that every day, and it's kind of hard to say. So that was pretty interesting that somebody's just, obviously it's a Falcons fan, but I guess like I'm thinking now, I think somebody other than a Falcons fan could, I guess, come up with that. There's a group of people that I guess that really doesn't think Russell Wilson is good as the rest of the world thinks. Maybe it's programmed in their head that he's too small maybe, and they were just wrong when he was coming out of college. Maybe it's something like that. I don't know. So there's another terrible take. We got two more, which are articles. Interesting here. So first one comes from I don't know how to say that. I'm not good with that. What is the at is Nick Rex 2. There we go. I can say that one. So thank you for sending this our way. It is an article on, let me scroll up, 5 NFL veterans who are destined to fall off cliffs in 2019. Shows a picture of Drew Brees. Drew Brees really going to be up here. If this said NFL veterans who are destined to decline a little bit, maybe that makes sense. Fall off cliffs. That's telling me they're going to be bad. They're going to go from good to bad. That's what that's telling me. Fall off cliffs is pretty harsh. And then Drew Brees is indeed on here. I don't see him being, falling off a cliff is just a little much. So really this terrible take for me, what I gathered, they sent me this article. What I gathered mainly is the Drew Brees being on this list. There is some other guys on this list, and I guess these are terrible takes too, just because the falling off a cliff part, that is harsh. That is saying, that's bad. That means they're going to be bad. That's how I take it. I think the person that wrote this doesn't realize what people are going to take that as. Antonio Brown maybe won't be as good as he has been on the Steelers. And he is actually going to play this year. That came out yesterday. He will play despite having to use the new helmet. Maybe he can decline a little bit, but fall off a cliff, I don't think so. I do think Calais Campbell's production will go down a little bit. Fall off a cliff, no. Mark Ingram, I'm on board with Mark Ingram kind of being a little bit overrated over the last couple years. I thought Kamara was much better. They should have been using him more. Ingram, a very solid running back at the same time. But his production really can go up because I think he's the guy there. So I don't really see the fall off the cliff situation. And then Gerald McCoy, again, I think he could decline too, but fall off a cliff, I don't think so. So this was very interesting. So appreciate you for sending us this article. It's a strange one, strangely titled, I guess, and having Drew Brees on here. And then I found an article myself here, which was very interesting. 10 most overrated players in the NFL. Now, this is all sorts of terrible. Jadeveon Clowney is overrated. I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't know if he gets as much appreciation as he should. I thought at times he actually carried that defense, even though there's other big-time players. He does everything. He stops the run. He gets after the quarterback. I think they're just a little upset that maybe he's holding out. So I don't know. Maybe that's what I'm gathering from this. I don't think any way is he underrated. I don't see why anybody would think that, really. So that's why it's pretty terrible. Kirk Cousins, this one isn't terrible because it's not surprising to see him on here. But obviously, if you read more into this, I think he's going off the contract numbers, which I guess it's a person's opinion to define overrated. But I don't look at the contract for overrated, and we see quarterbacks getting paid more and more anyways each year. I think people just rip Kirk Cousins on a daily basis, so by that I don't view him as overrated. So that's kind of my take on that. AJ Green, I don't know anybody that's called AJ Green overrated. Another one that I really just can't explain. Yeah, he missed games. He's overrated because he got hurt. I don't think so. I don't really think that applies. He's a very good receiver. Don't think he's overrated. I really don't know what else to say about that. Marcus Peters, I've heard people say Marcus Peters is overrated. But I just don't agree with it. It's not a super surprising one here. It's not as surprising as the Clowney or Green. But he got ripped a lot last year too. I mean, he's a corner he's gonna get a good amount of interceptions. He's a playmaking corner. Sometimes the risk that comes with that, kind of forcing the quarterbacks to throw it your way, sometimes you get beat. I don't think anybody's saying he's the best corner in football. I don't think anybody's saying he's an elite corner. I think he was better early days on the Chiefs. I definitely think, and it says the Chiefs. I'm just realizing this now. What? I was scrolling up, and I was getting ready to see August 9th, 2018. I thought I was going to be the Terrible Take of Terrible Take Tuesday. I literally thought I was going to have to redo this whole video, is what I thought. But this was August 9th, 2019. That was the other day, a few days ago. And this person not only has some terrible, overrated players, Marcus Peters of the Kansas City Chiefs. Let's read this. During his 3-year stint in Kansas City, Peters was able to make up for giving up the big play by forcing turnover. I'm kind of just skimming through this. So I think they're aware. He's not in the Chiefs anymore. I think this was just a mess up. But that's a terrible take. Another terrible take is just putting him on the Kansas City Chiefs there. Jarvis Landry's next. I mean, who says Jarvis Landry's overrated? I've only heard underrated for Jarvis Landry. I don't know. He's been quietly good almost. Like, he's not making ridiculous catches like Odell or anybody else. He's not scoring an insane amount of touchdowns. He's gets a great amount of receptions, gets open. I mean, who says Jarvis Landry is overrated? And this is a mind-blowing article here. Trey Flowers, another one. I think if anything underrated. Clutch in the playoffs. Maybe because he's not getting the number of sacks as about to say Aaron Donald, but was somebody that's the same position. Those other defensive ends, DeMarcus Lawrence, Frank Clark, any of those guys, Daniil Hunter. He's not getting as many sacks as those guys, but that doesn't make him overrated. Nobody's really talking about Trey Flowers. I think he's going by the contract again. I think they're going by contract. I guess you can make the case that you can consider people overrated if they get paid, but one team is paying them that. So to me, I just think overrated is kind of what fans and what the world thinks and the media thinks. Like the everyday talk about that player. That's determining if they're neither over underrated or one of those. That's just my opinion, I guess. I think most people would agree with me. So I don't think Trey Flowers is overrated. Maybe he got paid a little bit, but not really. It's a lot of money, but it's a pass rusher. When you have a chance to get a pass rusher, especially one with his experience and caliber, you go do it. I don't worry about the money too much there. Maybe it's a little much, but you just go do it. And Dak Prescott, another one. I've seen this argument, but I think he actually gets ripped more than praised. I wouldn't call him either over or under at all. But I just don't view him as overrated. Maybe if he gets that $40 million that he wants, the quarterback market goes up every year. I don't agree with $40 million if he gets that, but the quarterback market goes up every year. In a few years, the guys that got paid the last couple years are going to look like they're getting paid nothing as long as they play well. So I don't know. This one isn't bad. A terrible take, I guess, but I don't really agree with it. Le'Veon Bell, not a terrible take. I don't really agree with it, though. Maybe it's just because he sat out last year. He's a really good running back. At the end of the day, he's a really good running back. That's all there is to it. Derek Carr, once again, I think he's going off the money here. He hasn't really proven to be worth that money. He's played one really good season to earn that money. We know what he's capable of. We need to see more. We need to see more to determine if he's neither over or underrated or one of those. I think he's looking in the money too much. Yeah, he's a little overpaid, but we want to see more. Cam Newton, I don't think Cam Newton's overrated either. I think he's a game-changing quarterback. He can't, maybe his accuracy and his stats passing-wise isn't as good as, the Mahomes, the Rodgers, the Breeze, all those guys. But he's a game changer. He's a playmaker. He can throw the ball if he's 100% healthy. I think he's pretty smart. He's going to maybe turn the ball over a little bit more than some of those other guys too. But I do think he's a smart quarterback. He knows when he needs to move outside of the pocket, when he needs to move up in the pocket, run, throw it away. He knows those things. And he got the team to the Super Bowl, which I don't know if that team, it was a good team. He had talent here and there, but was it really a Super Bowl caliber team? I think he really, really carried that team at times. There's some other really good players. If I'm worried about him this year because is he 100% healthy? I still worry about that. But he is in no way overrated in my opinion. I've had barely at times though heard people say he's overrated, but I just don't agree with it. They're all bad on this list, but that's a bad. The really bad ones are, I'd say Jarvis Landry, AJ Green, and Clowney. Those are the really, really bad ones. Next tier would be Trey Flop. Pretty much the rest of them, pretty much the rest of them. He goes off contract, which I guess there is some people out there again that I think can go off contracts and determine if people are overrated or underrated. But you don't know. That's why I disagree with that. One team paid him that. You don't know if like a bunch of teams paid him that. That doesn't make him overrated. I don't think anybody should think like that. Really, the more I'm talking about it, I think it just should be a big group of people. If they view him a certain way, that makes them overrated or underrated. That's how I view it. If one team paying him something doesn't make him overrated. Okay, I guess in maybe the Vikings paying Kirk Cousins that much money at that time, maybe the Vikings overrated him. That's different to me. One team overrated him. It's a little different. I know the Jets wanted to pay him something similar, so I guess a couple teams maybe. But yeah, that's an interesting one. Very interesting one. Let me know your guys' thoughts. That kind of took a funny turn too, because I thought I found an article by mistake that was last year, but just because the Marcus Peters Chiefs thing. But he is indeed on the Los Angeles Rams, so that was another terrible 2-for-1. The article. And I think it was just a typo, so no big deal, I guess. But let me know your guys' thoughts. If you have any, you can DM us on Twitter. They're open. Really enjoy making these, so we can keep these going. I know we were going to stop them for the regular season for NFL, but keep them going if we have enough terrible takes, hopefully every week. But we do have full coverage in season for the NFL, updated recaps, power rankings, predictions, straight up predictions, and score predictions, all kinds of different predictions for the NFL season every single week. So hopefully you can join us for that. That's going to do it for this one, though. Thanks, everyone, for watching. Goodbye.